Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Coffee Run Live. It is Monday, episode 554, and I am super excited to talk to you and say, actually, happy International Women's Day. How exciting is that? It's a bit rough. I think I'd completely forgotten that it was even International Women's Day. I was just like, boom, public holiday. That's pretty awesome and fun. It's so curious to me because I have been for a really, really long time. I would always do things in order to what I felt was doing the right thing. And usually my litmus test was trying to do the right thing by everybody else and not always do the thing that I really wanted to do, in the sense that I kind of would put, and this happened a lot actually, I would put my wants and needs second place. Hello, Robin. How are you? By the way, Robin, that campsite looks ridiculously awesome. I'm so excited that you get to camp there. That's amazing. What an amazing thing. An amazing place. What's really interesting is that, not about camping, but more about this thing. It's a public holiday here. And I know in the past, I have been someone who has been like, doesn't matter what is going on, rain, hail, shine, whether I'm away, whether I'm home, I would always make sure that I was on my 6 a.m. calls with clients or whatever. So here and I'm sure this is everywhere actually, here in Australia, we've got public holidays that don't necessarily fall on the same day. It's really strange. So we'll have Labor Day here today, where I think Perth had it last weekend, and I think another state has it in a few months or towards the end of the year. Queen's birthday holidays, often different. In Victoria, we have different public holidays, based on our state versus what may be happening nationally. And for me, one of the things that I would always do is I've got clients all over the country, right? And all over the world, actually. And I suppose like the international daily holidays, the public holidays internationally, haven't really had a huge impact on my business, because people just kind of show up and we're usually like a day in here, like we're a day forward, or in terms of when they land for you. So people can manage that. But here in Australia, I've always been like, oh well, public holiday, that's okay, it's not a public holiday everywhere, I'll show up and I'll do my thing. So my husband actually on Saturday said, oh, so public holiday on Monday? Yeah. And he said, what are you doing? What are your plans? Are you working? And I said, no, I'm not. I've got 2 things that I need to do, 3 things actually. I've got the coffee run that I need to do, and I need to talk to you guys. I've got to write a blog because, that's just part of what I do. And then the third thing is I've got a call with my OBM. So I've got a call with the fabulous Jess today. She's not based in Victoria. And so he's like, oh, wow, you're not doing your 6 a.m. call. And I said, no, I decided that it's a public holiday here. And for the first time ever, I'm just not going to do that. So this might not sound very groundbreaking to you, but for me, I'm like 11 years deep into this business, and there's been a lot of firsts actually in the last 6 months that I've decided to undertake, simply because it's what works for me. And people are really just kind of like, yeah, okay, cool, like no worries at all. And I suppose the lesson here is, and I don't know that this is necessarily I don't think this is a gender thing. I don't think this is a type of business thing. I think this is just a personality thing. I used to be so worried about people saying no. I used to be so worried about people getting angry with me. I used to be so worried that people would feel like I was the devil incarnate for taking a public holiday off, or for saying, sorry, it's a public holiday, I'm not available that day. I used to feel so bad and so guilty about it, and like I was somehow letting people down. Never mind that I'd let myself down, or never mind that I'm letting my family down or my kids down, or, having to do different things. It's a completely different story if I actively knew is like, okay, great. I mean, it was always a choice, but the choice was always based on not me first. It was always everybody else first. And so really, I think one of the big things for me, one of the big learnings for me from this whole COVID scenario is, people will roll with different things that we all do. Hey, Joe. And I slept in till 7 a.m. It was an absolute delight. It was just, and I felt like I really needed it. But, there was that, like, going back even 12 months ago, even 2 years ago, I would have felt really bothered by this. This morning, hi, Christy. This morning, I was just like, this was the right choice and the right decision. And I think the thing that happens is that it doesn't matter whether it's about public holidays. It doesn't matter if it's around rescheduling different things. It doesn't matter if it's about shifting things around. The thing is that you're in the driver's seat, right? You have got the ability to make the choices and to make the decisions that you need to make for you. Robin, I've had no connection for the past 5 days in the Grand Canyon and it was so weird. You've been worried about not working, right? And yet, I didn't. I spoke to you guys about this. I had time off over Christmas, like last year. That was the first time, like not just the Christmas just gone. I did have time off this Christmas, but before that, we went on a cruise before the world went nuts. We did a cruise and I wasn't available for 2 weeks. And I said, sorry team, this is it, not available for 2 weeks. But the way that we set our boundaries is really important. And I think the way that this ties in, to me, it's International Women's Day today, right? So happy International Women's Day to all of those women who are out there and fabulous and amazing, which of course is you, and to all of the beautiful men who support us and cheer us on and who have got our backs. I think that's really awesome. That they don't allow us to do anything, but they create the space for us to be who we are and do what we want to do and chase after everything that we want, and all the other women that help us, support us, and create the space for us to do this as well. But I think for me, an interesting insight is that, I think for us as women, particularly women, we're sort of like wired to be nurturers, right? We're wired to look after people. We're wired and taught right from, the very second we pop out, pretty much, that, and not taught is in terms of like strategic lessons, but the way that we're conditioned by society is that, look after everybody else first, look after your kids first, put everybody else first, and then we fill up our own cup after that. And I think the interesting thing and the interesting growth for me has been around, putting your own oxygen mask on first and then looking after everybody else from that. And I actually think that that's a really hard thing. Well, for me, it's been a hard thing to get to, and I'm getting better at it. I don't always get it right, but I'm definitely getting better at it. And I think this is where self-care becomes really important. This is where you putting yourself first becomes really important. And it doesn't have to be that you're sacrificing anything, right? It doesn't have to be that somebody else loses. It's not about somebody else missing out. It's just about you looking after you first and doing what it is that you need to do. Because here's the trip, right? It can seem a little bit weird. Hi, Janine, how are you? It can feel a bit weird when we're like, okay, cool. Well, I'm here about serving people and that's fine. And in order to serve them, I have to not serve them so I can look after me so I can serve them better. It can seem a little bit Irish, right? Or a little bit back to front or a little bit inside out. Good morning, Kathy. Oh, good afternoon even. I keep forgetting where it's after lunch. And I guess that's something that we've just got to get better at, really as a collective. I think is growing that muscle around, well, you know what, if I'm looking after me first, then somebody might miss out on my time at that moment because you're looking after you, and it doesn't mean self-care, doesn't mean day spas, although that is lovely, doesn't necessarily mean treatments or, laying in bed or whatever. It can be about you looking after you for whatever it is that you need to do. That can be self-care. It can be journaling. It can be making sure that you're making your own money. It can be whatever you looking after you is, right? But the thing we've got to get better at is going, okay, well, while I'm doing this, this is what I'm doing for me. And your business should be about you first and foremost, and then about everybody else as well, because it fuels you, it's lighting you up. It's that thing that, you know, sparks joy and abundance and has you feeling like you could do this all day, every day for, you know, for the rest of your life type scenario, right? So I guess the thing that I'm really excited about and the thing that I love seeing and watching is women, particularly, because I think you know, whatever, you can think whatever you think. I think it's a little bit, I think it's a bit harder for us. We've got, and I'm talking generally, and I know that there are exceptions to every rule and it's not all women and, you know, all of that sort of stuff, right? But I think for us, what is like we have a harder time of it, particularly when we've got other people in our lives and other commitments in our lives, whether it's partners, children, fur babies, other relatives, whatever, friends, social, whatever else it is that we've got going on in our worlds. We do tend to typically try and look after everyone, and as a general thing, we tend to put ourselves first. And I just think that that is something that, I don't know, or it doesn't need to change, but we need to get better at practicing doing it in a more resourceful way that doesn't lead us into burnout, that doesn't have us feeling guilty all the time, that doesn't have us feeling like we're not being very good to anyone or everyone all at the same time. And this used to be me, right? I used to feel so bad that I loved what I do, and that meant that I wasn't, you know, I wasn't always in the same room as my children, right? So for example, public holiday here today. I'm in here and one of my kids is playing on his PlayStation. One of my daughters is playing in a room or listening to music. I heard her singing before. It was the best thing ever, right? Best thing ever. And my other daughter's at her man friend's house. And, you know, it's that kind of thing where in the past, I would have felt really bad and felt really guilty that I happened to be in here and they're all occupied and that I wasn't spending all of that time with them. These days, I'm like, well, own mask, this is what I need to do first and foremost. And, you know, then I can go and do the things with them because I've ticked off these boxes. Some days it's the other way around. Some days I'm looking after them first, doing what I need to do for them, and then working with you guys. And I think this is the thing where there's no set in stone way that you have to do this. But the big thing that I really want to let you know, I guess, is that no matter what it is that you're doing, make sure you are looking after yourself first, right? Putting on your own oxygen mask so that you can then be good to everybody else. So my challenge to you is this. Here's the challenge for you today. I want you to journal on what balance looks like for you, because this is the thing that I think is the big sticking point for so many people, right? It's like, well, how do I have it all? Or can I really have it all? Do you deserve to have it all? How can I have it all? Is the next prompt, and I'll pop these in here in a second. And then, like, what are some great ways that you can practice self-care on a daily basis, right? I think doing that kind of thing, and this can be about, it might be about establishing a routine. It might be about journaling. It might be about going to the gym. It might be about working out. It might be about talking to somebody that you don't normally talk to, or connecting with someone on a daily basis. It doesn't mean that you go and have a massage every day of the week, although you can certainly do that if you choose. So I think the way that we define self-care is an important thing to explore and an important thing to really kind of journal on, because it's that's going to help you, and it's that's going to help spark the ideas. So a working case in point of this. So you will notice that I got my curtains back on today, and I'm like, oh, I'm back. I feel so much better. And it takes a couple of days to kind of get back into feeling like they're okay after not having them on for about a week. But as I was lying there having them done, you know, it's like, wow, that's a form of self-care. But the other thing that I really enjoy about that hour downtime is the thinking time that it gives me. So I've been thinking about you guys this morning. I've been thinking about, well, what do I want to share? What do I want to talk about? I've been thinking about skating. I've been thinking about all of these different things. And I've had all of these ideas kind of bubbling, because in that moment, there's nothing else that I could do except lie down with my eyes closed and not sleep, because otherwise I'll go like, and then I get like tweezers in my eyeball, or, then I'd have eyelashes stuck up here, and that would be really weird and random. So for me, this downtime actually serves a dual purpose. It's about me doing something that I personally like. I don't care what anybody else thinks. I do it for me. It makes me feel feminine. It makes me feel finished. It makes me feel, that's how it feels for me. And also the other thing is that, like I said, it gives me that downtime and that thinking time. And yes, I journal a lot and all of that kind of thing, but that thinking time is so important. Robin, you've probably felt this with not having any service or any connection over the last 5 days, right? I love camping for this reason. I love flying on an airplane that does not have Wi-Fi for this reason. It's like all of the ideas tend to kind of like come on in and flow through it. I'm like, oh man, like when I've got that forced disconnection, and I think, technology is awesome, Wi-Fi is awesome, phones are amazing, but when we can't have that time to have that constant barrage in our face, it can create the space for new ideas to come through, new programs to come through, new ways of explaining things to come through, or just profound thoughts to come through. And I think it's really important that we do this and we create the time for this. So the call out to you is this. What is it? If it's International Women, it is International Women's Day today. So if it's International Women's Day today, and you can write your future the way you want to write it. So if you can write your future the way you want it to be, without barriers, without conflict, without guilt, without guilt, in a way that is in pure alignment of the amazing human woman that you are, what does that look like? I actually think that this is something that is super, super important. And I guess like this is a call out to all of you who, whether you're regardless of what you're doing, regardless of how it is that you're doing it, we have all got a brand of awesome, right? We know this to be true. I tell you every single day, and you see it all the time. We all have our own amazing brand of awesome. We all have the power, male or female, it doesn't matter. We all have the power in our hands to create whatever future it is that we like. And yet there might be perceived barriers, right? A lot of the barriers that we perceive to be true and the barriers that we perceive to be real are not. They're bullshit, made up crap that maybe someone has, told us at some point in time, or said that you have to be a certain way, or that you have to do things with a particular method, or whatever the case might be. It's all of that stuff is total bullshit. One of the things that is maybe not bullshit is the fact that we can't fly internationally at the minute. That is a barrier. But take that barrier away, there are other ways of transcending borders. There are other ways of transcending stuff like this, right? You can do things in whichever way, shape, or form you like. Maybe the method might be just slightly different, rather than jumping on a plane and coming over here or going over there. So how are you going to write in your future? Assuming that there is no guilt, there's no barriers, and you can do whatever the heck you like, doing it with the people that you want to be able to do it with, and in the mode and the method that you want to do it in. I would love to hear what comes up for you. And most of all, I just wanted to raise my coffee cup to all of you who are out there doing it, trying it, thinking about it, about to embrace it, or already embracing. The world is ready for your brand of awesome in the most ridiculous way, the most amazing way that you could ever possibly imagine. And I just can't wait to see you guys shine even more from here on out. There is some things that I've just popped in the comments. There's your journal prompts in there. I've also got in there some information or a link in there for jumping into Visible, the immersive experience, which is happening at the end of this month, a 2-day live immersion online, and then rolling into April where we are going to spend the whole month together implementing the stuff that you learn about being seen as the ultimate badass rock star of your industry. It's going to be so much fun. It is my most favorite thing to do and my most favorite thing to teach and deliver. Been doing it now for about 2.5 years. So I can't wait to host you in there as well. If you've got any questions, make sure you let me know. Go and do those journal prompts and share what comes up for you. Because when you create the time and the space to dream, it gives you the time and the space to imagine what it is that you could create. And if you can imagine it, you can do it. So then it's just about taking action, right? And getting out there. All right, my friends, have an awesome, fantastic, and amazing day. I celebrate you, my fabulous fellow women. Get out there, go help some people, have a whole ton of fun doing it. And most of all, remember that the world is so freaking ready for your brand of awesome. I'll see you tomorrow.